And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your number one consumer advocate. It's all about you, our radio family out there, helping you win in any marketplace, serving as your consumer advocate here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And we want to help you win no matter what you're facing out there. It's Intelligent Talk Radio. I've got some intelligent folks here in studio with me today. Let's make our introductions. Attorney Frank Miranda in studio. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, Brandon. I'm happy to be here. Always happy to be on your show, and happy to come back off a vacation like you did down to the Florida Keys somewhere and have a nice tan. So hopefully everyone's relaxed and get ready to rock and roll again.
That's right. Yes, sir. Frank Charles Miranda Law also has a title company right there on Cypress here in Tampa. And Chris Hatfield, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Welcome in, sir.
How we doing today, buddy?
Doing well.
It's pretty good to get out of the rain a little bit. Come over with you fine folks and hang out, talk for an hour, get away from some wedding planning that I've been doing.
There you go. Awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Very cool. Yeah, so Tampa Screens and Aluminum represented Chris Hatfield today. Also, you've heard Fred Muth, the Tin Man here. What was our nickname for you? Did we have
Screen Man.
The Screen Man, okay.
That's what they've called me now.
The Screen Man, okay. There we go. You got the funny nicknames for our show. Justin Setzer, plan to lead, may be coming in as well. Our friend Justin Setzer coming in. This segment is brought to you by the Lucky Dill Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Lucky Dill, and home of the sandwich that ate Brooklyn. And it's got they've got much more than just sandwiches over there. They've got great entrees, soups, salads as well, deli, New York City bar, Brooklyn Bakery, catering and banquets as well. And 4606 West Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa. Online at luckydilldeli.com. They've got a great location in Palm Harbor as well at on US 19 North in Palm Harbor. Lucky Dill is the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I got a hot listing here I want to let you know about. This is a $2.5 million listing. Boy Scout Road and Burrell Road in Odessa. If you're ever traveling in Odessa, you go through Tarpon Springs Road. I've got an awesome listing. It's waterfront on the lake. It's 18117 Boy Scout Road and also 18150 Burrell Road. And it's at the corner of Tarpon Springs Road in Odessa. One of the best. You know, I didn't realize until my seller was kind of talking about it, but this zip code is one of the highest dollar per capita in terms of median incomes. Beautiful homes, ranch-style homes over there. So if you know anybody that has a need for a homestead, estate-style home, especially with that equestrian feel, I'm talking about rodeo or polo or barrel racers or English saddle, whatever type of horse types you like. This was a beautiful property right on the lake. Great opportunity to build an estate-style home in Odessa, Florida. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, and coming up in the show as well, we got a feel-good story of the day. Police officer cared for lonely elderly man for 2 years after meeting him on duty. Feel-good story coming up right there. Let's start it off. Let's kick off the show with attorney Frank Miranda in studio here. Frank Charles Miranda Law. Got a great team over there helping people with real estate conflicts and negotiations and all kinds of cool stuff. And, of course, on the title side, closing real estate deals.
Yeah, and, you know, we were talking earlier before the show started about what's going on, and it just jogged my memory. I had a person come see me yesterday, in fact, where this poor lady, she signs a deed over this gentleman. She has a contract for $78,000 or so to sell her property, and when you start reading the contract, it becomes pretty apparent this is a person that was taken advantage of, because the buyer, at some point in time, there's a claim for a roof leak, and she assigns a claim over the roof leak over to this person, where who knows when the insurance is going to pay or how much they're going to pay, and you take that off the sales price because he's supposed to get the proceeds, and you start deducting what he wrote up as a seller contribution toward the closing costs. All of a sudden, $78,000 looks more like $60,000. And I want everyone to be aware of something. When you're selling your house, there's many people out there that claim that they're going to take over your mortgage payments. They claim that they can help you with an insurance claim. They claim that they can help with back payments. They make all these promises to you, and when you're desperate, you almost sign anything you want to sign to try and get out of the situation because someone's promising hope.
Exactly.
If you just wait a couple of days, make that offer, take that offer to a professional, real estate professional, take it to someone like myself to review. We can explain to you that what's happening is you're being conned. And these promises that are being made, and even though they may put you in some substitute housing and may pay for a couple of months of substitute housing, that carrot goes away, and then you have no ability to pay because there is no sale that's coming up soon enough so you can collect your money to make continued rental payments. So I want everyone to realize that it's okay for someone to reach out to you to see if you're interested in selling your house, whether it's a professional, whether it's an investor, whatever the case may be. That part is not illegal. The part that's concerning is when people sign away most of their equity in their house. And I don't think they really quite get what's going on. So if you don't quite get what's going on, rule number one is don't sign it. Okay, rule number two is go to someone that's reputable, and that's going to be someone that's a local licensed real estate agent and or a lawyer. Call my office to tell you and explain to you what everything means, because what you think is happening is not only happening, but it's happening 2 times fold, meaning people are ripping you off and they're not going to pay you what the piece of paper says because there's so many other deductions going on.
Right.
And so now, this person, I feel bad for this person. I don't believe this person can afford my services, but I'm going to help her. I have to protect her right. And, that's probably destined litigation. And the way it's all set up now, there's probably a title issue, meaning her chain of title. If she wants to convey the property, there's a problem now because now there's this third party with an interest in it that we have to clear up. So whoever does buy the house eventually, they don't have to have a fear of being sued someday
right.
by someone who claims that, hey, I had a contract and they breached the contract and now I have a right to buy it. All that stuff gets really sticky. So I'm happy we talked before the show started because I just remembered it as the show was starting.
Yeah.
It's tricky out there because, listen, a lot of people get advertisements in the mail about, are you willing to sell? Do you want to sell? You might be older, and now you want to downsize. You may want to go to assisted living, whatever the case may be. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're presented with an offer, do yourself a favor, stop, take a breath,
That's right.
sleep on it,
Yep.
okay, and take it to a professional.
Yep.
Someone like yourself, someone like myself. Let us look at it so now you know what you're actually getting into, and that biggest investment of your life that you now want to cash in on, okay, to help you through your retirement, we can protect it for you.
Yeah, that's a big one. You see it happening out there, and a lot of times it's the seniors that are kind of on the bamboozled side of that stick. They're the ones that are being conned because they don't have family to help them out anymore. There's a plethora of reasons why people may be in a position like that, but you got to be careful. Signing these contracts, especially if it's not a standard FAR bar, or an as-is contract. Correct?
Yeah, and the other thing is, to some degree, people want to trust people.
Right.
And buyer X walks up to seller and says, this is what the contract says. And typically, sometimes they'll even fold the contract just to the signature page, and there's no review of the terms. And they just sign it.
Wow.
Now, it doesn't excuse your actions. You did sign it, and the law mandates that you should sign it. You should read it before you sign it. But the great thing about the law, there's always an exception to the law. But not going down that road, going back to why it happens, people just want to trust people.
Yeah.
And rule number one is don't sign anything when it's presented to you on the spot. Typically, that's a pressure tactic. Typically, it never works out well for anybody. Go ahead, get a copy of it, review it, show it to a professional like we just discussed. Then if it's okay, we go ahead and sign it. Typically, it's not going to be okay. And typically, we could find you probably a buyer that is better, meaning they can close faster without dragging this thing on in perpetuity.
Yep.
Because what I reviewed had no closing date. It was going on forever. And that means your property's just tied up that much longer. So it's important to stop, look and listen, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay? Kind of like when you're taught, like the police will stop, look and listen. Because when someone wants you to sign something right then and there, and typically they fold that piece of paper on page 3 is the signature line, and they fold it over and they just show you the signature line, that's another telltale sign they don't want you to read it.
Wow.
So you could take take the agreement, don't sign anything, show it to a professional, we'll move forward for you, and we'll keep your best interest at heart.
Yeah, absolutely. Frank Charles Miranda Law right here in Tampa as well. Online, frankcharlesmirandalaw.com.
www.fcmlaw.com.
FCMlaw.com is the website, FCMlaw.com. And dealing with real estate law for many, many years. Your dad's been in local area politics as well, so the family's well known here in the Tampa Bay area, highly respected attorney, great team as well. Stephanie and the office staff over there does a great job on the real estate closing. So FCMlaw.com is the website. Frank Charles Miranda is the attorney. And coming up, we got Chris Hatfield in the house, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and more from our expert contributors coming up. And our feel-good story of the day is a good one. Police officer cared for lonely elderly man for 2 years after meeting him on duty. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by TrueLeaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate deals. Negotiation is my strong suit as well. Certified negotiation expert, teaching classes now at GTAR with the Greater Tampa Realtor Association and Pro. So we'd love to help help you with your real estate properties, buying, selling, or investing. Give us a call or check us out online. ConsumerQB.com is our website. This segment is brought to you by the Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Bilmar Beach Resort on Gulf Boulevard and Treasure Island. Beautiful resort right on the beach. So many things to do there in that area as well. They've got 2 pools on site, a gorgeous beach, of course, and they've got Sloppy Joe's restaurant on site. I'm going to be on hand this Friday. I'm going to be this is the first time I've ever judged a bartender contest as well. So the Clyde Smith, the general manager, asked me to participate. I said, sure, let's do it. Sloppy Joe's to host bartender competition. Hashtag Get Sloppy is the hashtag there, bartending competition. That's going to be Friday the 26th, 5 to 9 p.m. in Treasure Island. So come on out and hang out and meet the team over there at the Bilmar Beach Resort and Sloppy Joe's restaurant right on site. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you and take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I've got a hot new listing down in Gulfport as well. I want to let you know about this one. This property, it's waterfront right on Shore Drive in the Gulfport area. Just a beautiful property, waterfront. You look out the gorgeous views, and you have views of the Don Cesar across the bay, and it's a really cool community here. Waterfront condo. Bring your boat. There's boat docks there as well, and so many things to do in this town shores area. They've got a marina, 4 pools, kayaks, racks. You got tennis courts, pool. Just a really cool time there that you could be had. And unit number 312 is available, so it's 5980 Shore Boulevard South, Unit 312 in Gulfport. Beautiful condo, beautiful flooring throughout as well. Check out our website at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. You can see links to all of our properties there at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. Chris Hatfield's in the house. Tampa Screens and Aluminum, a.k.a. the Screen Man, here in Tampa Bay. And talking about the weekly economic update, I just wanted to read a brief excerpt from this weekly economic update. It talks about the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. The President, John Williams, noted that the Fed policymakers would proactively adjust interest rates and take preventative measures to ward off potential slowdown. A New York Fed spokesperson later said that Williams' comments were academic and did not concern potential policy action. Still, the Vice President, Richard Clardiria, said his comments last week, he's expressing views that the Fed officials don't have to wait until things get bad to have a dramatic series of rate cuts. So to talk about these rate cuts, and a lot of the idea is to slow down the Fed or make sure that the economy doesn't slow down. But in your local economy here, it seems like you guys are booming always.
Yeah, it's been ramping up. It actually 2 years in a row. We usually count on the summertime to be our slower time. That's when all the snowbirds have taken off and it's just locals. But it seems like the economy's doing well enough that the locals are wanting to do these things. And it's always been a luxury industry. The pool enclosure and adding a screen room on a house, it's always been a luxury industry. So it's something that it's nice. It's very nice. I don't ever count on it in the summer, but this is the time when we start ramping up for hurricane time. Yeah. And this is the time that no matter what, whether we get hit by a direct storm or not, there's enough old trees, heavy saturation with the rain going on, 30, 40 mile an hour winds, a little offset wind, something coming off the shore or anything, that can cause enough damage to a pool enclosure, significant enough damage, that it could either be known as a force of nature or hurricane related. But this starts to be that time. We've already had, what are we on, our second named storm coming up. Yeah. This is that time where we start to look at that. So when we're having additional remodels going on along with that influx, and then the Northerners will be back around October, we're ready for another busy year. Yeah, it's going to be great. The Tampa Bay market's booming. We're still, we have a lack of inventory still. We're looking for more sellers to come to the market. There's a lack of inventory. Starting a slow shift to a buyer's market, but, every time we say that, it seems like things are still fueling and sales are up. So it's interesting dynamic, especially Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Palm Harbor, Bradenton. This is just such a great area to be in. I think that really separates us from a lot of the national numbers that we read. We see national numbers out there kind of showing some signs of slowing, but not here in Tampa Bay. Not at all. And like I said, we have all those new remodels and everything going on where people are buying into a house and they want to add everything going on. And we can definitely get you, whether it's, if we do have a storm or anything that comes up, we can still take care of you in the same time parameters. So once you've got a spot in line, once we're going in with the permitting, we're good. We're still going to stay on with that 7 to 8 week time frame. But in the last 3 months, just with random wins and things like that, I've started to have a little bit more insurance jobs. So there are a few things that I wanted to talk about just to, iterate on the consumer advocacy part.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because a lot of insurance adjusters, when you're talking to somebody, you'll end up talking to somebody in Iowa, Oklahoma, or Ohio. That's where a lot of main logistics points are, and none of those have pool enclosures. So when you're trying to explain the damage that you've had to your pool enclosure, you need to start learning a vernacular that'll work for them, or let somebody talk directly to them, because sometimes the wordage doesn't line up.
Right.
But something they should definitely know as far as the Florida building code is the 50-50 law. And 50% of the enclosure, if it becomes damaged due to a storm, then it must be replaced. The entire enclosure must be replaced. We don't go adding 65% of an enclosure. So 50% damaged, and it must be replaced. But the other part of that is the 50% of the value. So if the repair that's necessitated is 50% of the value of a new enclosure,
right,
then it also must be torn down and rebuilt.
Wow.
Because of the fact that we do have some of these old survivor cages that I've talked about in this area. They're just in a perfect exposure area, hidden by a fence, by a tree. They've never taken any direct wind. And some of these are 30, 40 years old. They're made out of discontinued material. They haven't made 4-inch super gutters since 1995. They haven't made anodized material, the silver aluminum. They haven't made that since the early 90s. Bronze and white aluminum is what they have out. So if we're going to make something that's an addition onto a house, a remedy or a repair, the insurance company kind of looks at that as, well, we don't want to, insure something that doesn't have any value. You're telling us you can repair it a little bit, but it's not going to be fully back to what it needs to be. So in that same, as long as you're going like for like, exact structure back for exact structure, obviously modifications due to the permitting, but as long as you're doing that, you should be fine with your insurance company.
Yeah, and it makes sense because you want to maintain the structural integrities as well. So if you're changing the dynamics of the material used,
the codes have not been instated for a joke. I mean, the biggest one that came in was 2004. We had another one that came in 2008, 2012, and then 2014. 2014 is still the modern code for wind that they've adapted, and that puts most of the area we're in right now at 140 to 155 mile an hour of wind code, depending on where you're at in the coast.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting when you think about that. Chris Hatfield here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. So as a consumer advocate, what kind of advice do you have then for homeowners that want to protect their assets?
You need to find out if you're still insured. A lot of people have lost the insurance on their enclosure, or their deductible is so ridiculously high that it'll blow your mind. A $4,000 deductible on a $9,000 cage is a little bit insane.
Wow.
But you may have signed paperwork. If your insurance was transferred from one underwriter to a different person, and now you've gone on with a new company, because we remember after that big swath of storms from 2002 to 2004, a lot of insurance companies pulled out of the state of Florida.
Yes.
And we had to actually start making laws that if you're going to, offer auto insurance, if you're going to offer all these other cash cows, you got to take care of our houses as well.
Yeah.
So they were able to start changing things like that, but it's still not. Insurance is never really for the consumer. It's to mitigate risk.
Right.
How much are you willing to put in to mitigate that risk? So if you look at it and you go and look at the fine print, it's a good time to do it now before there's a storm.
Yeah.
You want to know if you have a deductible, how much the deductible is, and if your enclosure is even insured anymore. Because if that's the evidence, then I'd really want you to go out, cut your screens, and make sure the thing can be blown through, because then you can just come back and rescreen it, and you don't have to worry about structural failure.
So that was the old conventional wisdom, was if there's a storm coming, cut the screens, right?
And
if
that still is.
It
still
is,
is, hands down. Even with those larger panoramic cages that you're starting to see with the infinity wall pools, where they want to build, and we build beautiful ones, 18, 20-foot openings that have no posts, anything. It's just screen. Well, that screen also comes with a little bit of a disclaimer. It's a tarpaulin. It's a wind sail. How do you think sailing of boats works?
Yeah.
So that structure is best if it's able to blow through. So they tell you that those screens are not meant to stay in that pool enclosure in a 140-mile-an-hour storm. So always the best choice of action is to cut a large X in 1 to 2 panels. Don't remove the screen. If you can remove the doors, by all means, good idea. But cut 2 large X's because you can tape the large X's. You got to be patient after a storm. You're not going to get somebody to come out there immediately.
Right.
You might be on a 6 to 8 week wait list to get a repair taken care of. It is what it is. It's a very, very busy time. And again, it's not a necessity. It's a luxury.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So that's some good tips there. So you're going to cut X's in it. If it's a direct hit, then you can tape it up afterwards. That's good stuff. So.
And we talked about a lot of the mitigation efforts before, doing the tap cons and cables and things like that. But this is more of what happens after the storm.
Right.
You know, there's definitely some things that I tell people: shut off the electricity to any of the back area. People have floodlights. They have fan beams. They have porch lights. They have all different kinds of things run back into that area. Now it's a danger. So shut off all that electricity if you've had something that has damage. Don't touch any of the jagged metal. If you have to remove anything, take pictures ahead of time before your adjuster can get there to prove what actually happened.
Yeah, good
Because
point.
sometimes when the metal falls and crashes in, it's blocking your egress or it's shoved through a window or something like that, and you have to remove the danger. But work in the realm of the insurance is not always there to take care of you. They're there to prove that their business doesn't have to pay that out.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
you know, using the line of, at that point, it's a case. It's an open case.
That's right. Yep. And it's all about minimizing their outlay of cash a lot of times. It comes down to it when you're dealing with the insurance companies, correct?
Oh, yeah.
You see it a lot, I'm sure. Yeah. All right. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, more from our expert contributors, attorney Frank Miranda in studio, FCMLaw.com, Chris Hatfield, Tampa Screens and Aluminum as well. And our feel-good story of the day, police officer cared for lonely elderly man for 2 years after meeting him on duty. And follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, the Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook. And we'll be right back after this short timeout. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by TrueLeave on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. This segment is brought to you by WholeBodyFuel.com, the official meal delivery service of the Consumer Quarterback Show, WholeBodyFuel.com. Check them out online. Chef Brian Adamo and his team do a great job. Kevin and the whole team. They deliver these, conveniently deliver these awesome meals directly to your home or office. Every week, I love it when my new order comes in, and it's great food. They rotate the menu. I think it's something like 49 different meals that rotate. So every 7 weeks or so, you get a new batch of your meals. So it's great food and very convenient, delivered directly to your home or office. And what else do you have in this world if you don't have your health? You got to eat healthy. So wholebodyfuel.com. Check them out online. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent ya. All right, back here in studio, we got Frank Miranda in studio. Attorney Frank Miranda, that is. We got Chris Hatfield as well, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. I want to let you know about this hot property that we've got down here in Tampa. This one is 4309 East Frierson Avenue in Tampa. This property, it's prime for development. We've got architectural renderings already in place for this property at 4309 East Frierson Avenue in Tampa. So it's a prime multifamily site. The lot has been rezoned to multifamily, so you can fit 8, maybe even 10 units, and it's 3 contiguous parcels of land, 0.32 acres, and it's a great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Attention builders, developers, great opportunity at 4309 East Frierson Avenue in Tampa. Should build some multifamily, great rental income property there, potential as well. 9200 Gun Highway. This is another corner lot, prime for development that I have here in Tampa Bay. One of the last undeveloped corners of Gun Highway, all the way from Tampa to Pasco County. 9200 Gun Highway in Odessa. Prime corner, vacant lot available, 2.39 acres in Odessa. Great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
All right, let's go back to attorney Frank Miranda here. Attorney Frank Charles Miranda in studio, real estate attorney, owns a title company as well here in Tampa Bay. Cypress is a great location in Tampa. And what else are you seeing out there, Frank? What else is going on?
Well, there's a lot going on. I mean, there's a lot of litigation. And what that means is people who go in these transactions blindly, it starts a fight. And what I like to tell people when they come to my office is this side of the building's all litigation. So everything you see in my office, someone's being sued. Typically, we're the ones doing the suing. The other side of the office does the title work and the real estate title closing. So these transactions go on, and there's problems with them. Like most of the time, no one hears about the problems. They assume they're going to send their paperwork to a title company, whatever the case may be. They're going to sign papers. They don't think who's working there. They don't know if they're competent. They don't know what's going on. And there is a percentage of those cases that falls awry, and there's a dispute that arises. The deal doesn't close, or maybe the deal does close, and there's still litigation thereafter. So that's why it's important to deal with somebody locally. That's why it's important to deal with somebody with a reputable reputation. That's why it's important to have someone who's a professional fill out the contract, like I've mentioned so many times before, the additional terms in Section 20, which is a blank. If you want to know exactly what your deal is, if you write it so a fourth grader can understand what the deal is, that's better. It doesn't have to be fancy. In fact, the way lawyers write is not the way I think a contract should be written. A contract should be written so that if a fourth grader can read it and know what both parties really intended to do, that's a good thing.
Right.
And then, you can dispute the facts as to whether or not someone did what they were supposed to do or not. That's for the finder of fact down the road. But if your terms are clear, then you know what's going on. Okay, just like when Chris does a contract for somebody and, it's crystal clear as to what his job's supposed to do, and he does his job, he gets paid for it. Pretty clear contract. Selling a house should be that simple too. Now, the problem is we complicate it somewhat because we have to, and it's multiple pages long, and it's 16 to 20 paragraphs long, but every one of those paragraphs actually means something important. And what people in the real estate profession, or who think they're in the real estate profession, they proclaim to be self-proclaimed experts, They want to tell people what these contracts actually mean, and they're getting wrong information.
Yeah.
And when you get people wrong information, and it's differs from what's in the written contract, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this morning I settled a case on a real estate commission dispute that's been going on for 1.5 to 2 years. So that finally got resolved. But it takes time. It takes time to get these cases resolved. Time takes money. There's a lost use value calculation that people have to appreciate. So a lot of people don't appreciate the fact that, hey, if I can get this resolved today, I can use the money today.
Right.
If I have to wait 2 years, that's an unknown of how much I get back.
Yeah.
It's also an unknown as what you could have done with that money if you had received it today.
Right.
So all that comes into negotiations and how that plays out. So I'm glad that case got resolved. But the problem is people, one, don't read. And I'm talking educated people, too. I represent doctors. I represent a bunch of people who fall into the same trap as the lady I talked about earlier segment, where they don't read the contract. Someone tells them what's in it. They sign the signature page. It's not a big deal until 9 months later. They go, where's my investment? Where's this? Where's that? And they show them the entire document that they signed. They go, well, this is what I was told. I was told something different.
Yep.
Doesn't put them in a great situation, and it creates a lot of problems.
But told and written, a lot of times, there's times where people say things to make you think that you're, this is what you're getting into. But then when they give you the written example, nothing matches up at all. And that was their exact MO with doing that. Like you said, on the predatory side of people flipping to that third page, they've discussed everything with you. You're going to get this, you're going to get this, and this is what we're going to do. But the reason why they flip to those other pages to get past all that annoying paperwork, like you said, all those extra wording, which you've tabbed on that. We've had other lawyers on here before, and I've said that stuff's all precedent. That there's a reason that all that wording is in there, and it might be annoying. People might think that it's there to confuse you, but it's usually to cover somebody's butt. I mean, it's either good for you or it's good for the person that's giving you that contract. That wording's not in there for no reason, right?
It's in there for a good reason.
Yeah.
But the contracts you're talking about are typically the pre-pretty contracts that Brandon's used to giving his clients. Those are pretty much, they're intended to be fair for both parties.
Okay.
The contracts I see typically are the ones that are homemade with their own terms, and it gets real bad from there.
Like
and
the
those are
ones
the ones.
that,
Those are the ones that are typically, here, sign the last page.
Yeah.
So that's why, again, we go back full circle again, Brandon, to using someone that uses a standardized contract that tries to be fair for everybody. Uses one local that can be held accountable.
Yep.
Okay. So if you make a representation that's erroneous to one of your clients, there's repercussions.
Yeah.
I mean, you're insured. I'm insured. I'm sure you're insured and bonded, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
All right. So we're held accountable for what our actions are. So, I mean, we're intending to give our clients great advice and do the best we can for them. And if for some reason we do something wrong, we all make mistakes. If, God forbid, one of us does something really wrong and they want to make a claim at us, so be it. We're here. We're accountable. We can help solve your problem. A lot of problems that comes in the situations out-of-town companies, whether it's the real estate market or someone else. I had another phone call today where a producer of an item from New Jersey who got that item out of place in Korea, my end user got it, and I'm like, yeah, you've been wronged. The practical problem is it takes X amount of money to fix that wrong.
Right.
And when you start calculating the risk, are you throwing good money after bad? And I make that analogy with my clients all the time.
Yeah.
I got clients coming to me and they've been clearly wrong for whatever reason, and they want to go after this person under principle. And I understand that because they're entitled to do it. There's a breach of an agreement, whatever the case may be. And the first thing I tell them is, the feeling of standing up for principles, a valid feeling, and you feel it right now, but 6 months after I sent you my 6th or 7th bill, I want you to realize something. Principle is not free.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I tell them up front, I tell all my clients blatantly up front how I think about the case and how I think about how they acted, whatever the case may be. The point is you got to be prepared. So litigation is a time commitment. It's a money commitment. And that wears on some people. So they have to realize when they get into it, it's not just me out there that they're hiring. I need their help in assisting them. Because I will never know the facts as good as they know the facts.
Exactly.
Because they live through it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's whenever you talk about that. By the way, if you just joined us, I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. We're talking with attorney Frank Miranda here in studio. We got Chris Hatfield as well weighing in. Yeah, when you talk about those disputes and how things get blown out of proportion, and then somebody says principle, it is. It's an expensive principle. It's a time-consuming principle. It's a stressful principle, and you got to really just look at opportunity costs. Hey, if I were to bury this and let it go and let go of the past. And kind of put it in that rearview mirror, so to speak, and just go forward and make it up. That's what I've done in a lot of cases. I mean, I've got companies out there that I started that are making millions of dollars, but I, didn't do things properly and, got, what out of it. And that's what happens. You make those mistakes when you're young and you move on and you learn from it.
Now, the flip side is this. Someone does it wrong and they hire someone else and they're going to bully you.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen with me.
Right.
I got an email today about an attorney telling me to drop a lawsuit I just filed because it's frivolous, and I just responded back, I don't file frivolous lawsuits. If you think I did something wrong and you want to sanction me and get sanctions from the court, go for it, because I'm behind every case I file.
And in that case, probably what happens is their client is telling them something that maybe they don't know. They don't know all the details. They don't have the right context, right?
They may or may not.
Yeah, exactly.
They know where to find me.
There you go. All right, stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We come back more from our expert contributors and our feel-good story of the day. Police officer cared for lonely elderly man for 2 years after meeting him on duty. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my...
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. This segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that they are a first-class organization, and they do a great job at Brothers Easy Moving. And they are online. Their reviews online speak for themselves. 4.6 rating on Google, 4.5 rating on Yelp, A rating from the Better Business Bureau, as well as they've also won the Super Service Award multiple times. Check out Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. 11540 Shipwatch Drive in Largo is a hot property. The owner's super motivated on this one. Unit number 1391. Now, this property is available, 11540 Shipwatch Drive, Unit 1391 in Largo, Florida. It's there's no flood insurance required. It's a second-story bedroom, two-bedroom condo here in Shipwatch, and the community has great features as well. 2 clubhouses, marina with dry dock, tennis courts, public. You got a library, pro shop with tennis pro and massage therapists on site. So great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings on our website at platinummvpteam.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, we're back here in studio. Attorney Frank Miranda in studio, FCMLaw.com, and Chris Hatfield, the screen man, here in studio, talking about Tampa screens and aluminum, building, those beautiful additions, kind of the in-between space. It's not inside, it's not outside, but it's like that in-between space there where you got screens, keeping the mosquitoes out, keeping a lot of the heat out, a lot of the sun, UV rays out. Great product. I love it.
The mosquitoes have definitely been the clamor this past month. I mean, that with more rain and with water settling everywhere, that's what causes the breeding of them. So normally during the winter months, we get a lot of calls for everybody wanting to go out there and enjoy their outdoor space. It's beautiful. You can open up all your windows, let the breeze go through. Not this time of the year. Everybody's calling because of the fact that they've got screens that are out from, trees, this, that, and the other. Kids are out playing out in the pool, knocking a beach ball through everything. And we can usually come and take care of a repair immediately if you need to have just a couple panels taken care of. But what we mainly pride ourselves on is coming in and looking at the entire enclosure. If you need a full rescreen and that makes sense to go ahead and take care of something like that, we can facilitate it. But we also look at everything with the enclosure. We look at the gutter, see if it's leaking. We look at those tap cons I was speaking about, seeing if it's attached. We look at hurricane cables. We can adjust your doors. We can make it to where it's actually an enclosure that you're going to utilize.
Nice.
So if it's something that you want to actually, spend a little bit of time in, we're the people to call for.
Now, on your website as well, tampascreens.com, you've also got some really cool new products that you guys launched and offered. You've got those pergolas.
Renaissance patio products.
Patio.
Yeah, and those are working out. I'm getting multiple calls for them, both on the aluminum, just the aluminum roofing side that you're seeing right there. And that's beautiful. If you do not want to have screen, there are a lot of people that have beautiful aesthetic to the back of their house. They've spent a lot of time architecturally designing that, and they do not want to have a screen room with bars and everything else running through it. A simple post and lintel structure with the exposed rafters and then that roofing design on top, that's another thing that's built and made in Miami. This is not made in China. This is not made anywhere else and then brought here and told you that it's going to work. They've done a lot of R&D. This company's put millions of dollars into it. Wow. They have all the factory and all the warehouse ready to go to have these materials cranked out, but they are the finest quality materials. They do not come with any mill finish cuts to them. They use a special saw to cut them. They bake and cure the ends of everything. This is an extreme luxury product, but you get a lot of bang for your buck on that.
Yeah, it seems like it. Those are very nice additions to your home. Adds value to the home, reduces the marketing time when you go to sell. It's interesting. We had Ray the appraiser on the show the other day, and that's the question you get, right? Is
what makes it different?
Yeah, how much more money am I going to make? What if I add a pool? Those questions. You don't get dollar per dollar on a lot of these additions, but the thing I say as a realtor is that all things equal, your house will sell faster if it has a nice screen room and the other house doesn't.
And that's what I tell people. I tell them I'm not interested in telling them that they're going to get an initial ROI. Are you going to spend $10,000 and get $10,000 back? Never been in that business. Luckily, it's a luxury market. You can only buy these things when you properly can afford to put these things on your house. But will you get it back? If somebody walks out the back of your house and sees nothing, blank canvas.
Yep.
Maybe they've got the the wherewithal that I'm going to landscape this, I'm going to add a pool, I'm going to add this. But 9 times out of 10, when they're looking for a house, they don't want to do anything to it for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
They want something that's turnkey. People may want to get into an investment opportunity, but they want that cheaper.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay for any addition done to your house.
That's
but
right.
with the market, with it where it is right now, people do want these options. They do not want dated things. They do not want an old, nasty pan roof on the back of an enclosure. They want something that's a composite insulated roof that both protects against the sound, the sun, the rain, but makes it to where it's a modular room. They could add acrylic or glass windows to it at a later time and close off the entire thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, good stuff. Check out Tampa Screens at Aluminum Online. TampaScreens.com is the website, TampaScreens.com. And every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, so here's a story about the police officer who cared for lonely elderly man for 2 years after meeting him on duty, and says you may look at this picture and see a caring granddaughter comforting her beloved grandfather as he lies in a weakened state in the hospital bed. The truth is that the woman is a police officer, and she met Bob only 2 years ago while she was on duty. Georgia law enforcement shared the story on their Facebook page. Lawrenceville police officer Dina Walker Polly's life was changed forever when she was dispatched to a local pawn shop where staff were unsure how to help him. Life has not been too kind to Bob. He's been on his own since he was a child and has no family. He was homeless most of his life, and a stroke eventually left him in nonverbal. His life was a series of sad stories strung together by poverty and loneliness. Officer Polly arrived at the pawn shop and was also unsure of how to assist Bob, but she sensed he needed help, offered to take him home, and she could show her what she needed. She was horrified when she saw Bob's living conditions. She may have been dispatched by radio, but no doubt she was really sent by God. It quotes, goes on to say, she immediately addressed Bob's deplorable living conditions, taught him such basic skills as throwing out garbage rather than on the floor. She's ensured that he has food to eat, routinely cleans his apartment. She eventually sought and received a power of attorney for Bob's medical care, and he's been in the hospital since May, and today was an important day for Bob and Dina. So Officer Polly made a decision to begin hospice care for Bob. So she had held his hand, and many times that she loved him. It's quite possible that she's the first person to ever utter those words to this poor man. On July 17th, law enforcement announced that Bob passed away, and it's a very heavy heart. We have to report Bob passed away earlier today. So they, man, what an officer, going above and beyond the call of duty there, man. Feel good story of the day.
That's a lot harder than writing a check to a charity, and it's a lot harder than spending one afternoon trying to sell donuts with the Boy Scouts.
That's right.
That's true dedication. That's true. You can't give anything more than your time. That's
right.
The most important asset you have.
Wow, man, what a story.
Incredible. That is incredible.
That's a great story. All right, let's jump into our lightning round here.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds!
I majored in lightning
All right,
rounds.
top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Attorney Frank Miranda, give us some top tips, sir.
When you're at your most vulnerable and someone wants to purchase your biggest asset, don't rush to a judgment. Don't rush to a decision. Don't sign anything you haven't actually read. Grab the document, take it to a local professional, take it to myself, take it to someone like yourself, Brandon, and get some help, because most of the time you can sell that property with much better terms and much better, quicker closings than you could with jumping into that deal because you feel desperate.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're low and vulnerable, like you said, that's when you're not thinking clearly. You got to practice the discipline of clear thinking. And, you know, a lot of times I think of it as a bucket of silt. You know, you got a bucket of water with dirt in it, right? And you shake that bucket up and it's hard to see through it. But the longer you let that bucket sit, that silt's going to sit to the bottom, the dirt's going to settle, and you're going to have clear thinking. So think about it as clear thinking, and take the time. And it may not be you. It may be a loved one that you have. You know, talk to them about what their needs are. Ask them those specific questions. Do they have an estate plan in place? Do they have a plan in place for their real estate? Are they insured properly? Those are questions that you should ask at the dinner table when you're talking to, especially, you know, elderly family members.
You should ask that of your father-in-law, Chris, to see how he likes that. When you
What's that?
Ask him about his estate planning, what his plans are for his assets.
There you
now
go.
you just asked to marry his daughter, so jump right into that conversation this weekend.
That's a tough
It's
one.
an old family tradition. I still haven't bought the goat, so I'm supposed to actually get him a goat as an acceptance for allowing to marry his daughter.
Wow.
I went over and trimmed his hedges the other day to keep his HOA off.
There you go. Hey, that's close enough.
So I sent him a text. I said, "Here's your goat."
That's funny. So Chris Hatfield, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, give us some more tips, man. You had a great show today with lots of tips, but you got anything else for us?
Like I said, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, tampascreens.com, facebook.com/Tampa Screens, 813-960-7064. You can give us a call before the storm. We can come and shore up the cage. We can come and give you our assessment. It's a free estimate for me to come out there and take a look at it. It's how I earn my business. So I have no problem coming out there and taking a look at it. We can come out there after the storm if there ends up being one. Hopefully there's not. But if there ends up being one, give us a call after the storm. Don't give me a call during the storm. I get the chance to evacuate just like everybody else should.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, hopefully we have a light year this year. We need one. I tell you that.
Heed the warnings, though, man. If they talk about it, if you're in a low-lying area, if you're in a coastal area, if you have a question about it, find out about it. Have a little bit of a plan, a little bit of a box, something.
Don't evacuate to Orlando. We talked about that.
Don't evacuate to Orlando.
Building codes are really low.
And leave in the middle of the night. Don't leave right when the 5 o'clock news comes on, because that's when everybody else leaves.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, another great show. Thanks to all of our show producers, our team out there, our expert contributors in studio. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.